the digital world's side effects that we barely know. Side effects on our brains. Activity, discovering our brains. Duration, 30 minutes. The objective of the activity is to understand how the excessive use of the internet can cause effects in our brains. Step 1. Ask your learners to watch the video. This is your child's brain on video games, the WSJ. Step 2. Each of your learners should answer the following questions. What does Dr. Milham suggest is the primary biological reason why children struggle to control their impulses? What role does dopamine play in the brain's response to video games? And how does this compare to the brain's response to substance use? With what feelings is dopamine associated? Why might a child experience heightened negative emotions when a video game is abruptly turned off, according to the video? How have video game designers utilized the brain's reward system to keep players engaged? Step 3. Review the answers with your learners and compare answers. Explain that the prefrontal cortex is a critical area of the brain involved in helping people to control their impulses and urges. Children do not have this part of the brain totally developed. Therefore, this is the main biological cause of their challenge to control themselves. Furthermore, dopamine is a neurotransmitter linked to feelings of euphoria, motivation, and concentration. At video games, dopamine is a key component of regulating reward mechanisms, making the player have a pleasant time. When the activity is suddenly stopped, the level of dopamine decreases quickly, generating in a person negative feelings such as frustration, despair, and rage. Video game designers have skillfully utilized the brain's reward system by incorporating intermittent rewards into gameplay, creating a constant stream of dopamine that keeps gamers engaged and makes it difficult for them to stop playing. Furthermore, there are more studies available that demonstrate that the brain also responds in this way with other PUI behaviors, as well as with substances consumption. The study Digital Addiction and Sleep states, current research points towards altered punishment, reward sensitivity, and deregulation of the dopamine transmitter pathways in the brain as physiological correlate of digital addiction. Side effects on our sleep patterns. Internet addiction may seriously interfere with sleep cycles in a number of ways, which can have short and long-term negative effects on health. The most obvious effect is that those who have an addiction to online activities frequently become disoriented and stay up late using social media, gaming, etc. Delaying going to bed might result in less time available for sleep, leading to inadequate rest. People could thus struggle to get up on time, which could cause a disruption in their sleep-wake cycle and chronic sleep deprivation. Online media use can also have an impact on how well a person sleeps. It can be challenging to take rest before bed, since stimulating behaviors like gaming, gambling, or simply reading emotionally charged social media postings, raising stress and adrenaline levels. When the brain should be slowing down, mental stimulation keeps it active, which causes restlessness and makes it harder to go asleep. The influence of blue light generated by screens is another way that internet addiction impairs sleep. Blue light exposure disrupts the synthesis of melatonin, the hormone that controls sleep, particularly in the evening. While exposure to blue light is essential for maintaining the body's well-being, alertness, and cognitive abilities during the day, chronic exposure to low-intensity blue light right before bedtime can have serious consequences for sleep quality, circadian phase, and cycle duration. Lower melatonin levels make it more difficult to get asleep, which prolongs the amount of time awake after switching off electronics. This may set off a vicious cycle where the person becomes more and more reliant on the internet in an attempt to get more sleep, therefore aggravating the issue. Circadian rhythms refer to a cyclic metabolism governed by factors within the body, under the regulating influence of environmental factors such as sunlight, food quality, and regular exercise to help the body maintain them. It is hardly surprising that online addiction has an important influence on sleep-wake cycles, leading to sleeplessness and other sleep disorders, including insomnia. This is because these environmental factors are suppressed, where people prefer to continue with their obsessive behaviors, rather exercising, etc. Figure 4. Insomnia as a trigger and booster of addiction. Own creation. Source: Dress Langley, Bogita, Axel Hutt. Digital Addiction and Sleep. International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health, 2022, 19, número 11, 6910. https://doi.org 10.3390 IGRPH 969 Image: Ilustración del concepto de FOMO, developed by freepik.com. Insomnia may be both a trigger and booster, and a chronically developing consequence of the addiction. These interruptions have the potential to worsen mood, general health, and cognitive performance over time. They can also result in persistent sleep problems. The lack of restorative sleep impairs one's capacity for focus, memory, and decision-making, which can have a significant impact on everyday activities such as interpersonal and professional interactions. In extreme situations, sleep loss brought on by an online addiction can also raise the chance of anxiety and despair, which feeds the vicious cycle of insufficient sleep and increasing internet use. A lack of sleep can also cause accidents. As a result, it is critical that people are more cautious when using the internet, particularly in the hours before bed, to guarantee they acquire the restful sleep required to preserve their health and well-being. Side effects on our relationships. Damage with friends and partners. Friendships can be harmed by the problematic use of the internet because consumers may stop being trustworthy, withdraw from social situations, break promises, behave erratically, etc. When friends and partners see a loved one's behavior is out of control, they may feel helpless or overwhelmed of how to support them. This tension might eventually cause friends to gradually drift apart as a way to shield themselves from the bad effects of the addiction or to escape from seeing their buddy in conflictive situations. Damages in family. PUI can cause damages in several ways. Health problems. PUI in the family can cause feelings of helplessness, anger, guilt, anxiety, etc. Members coping with the difficulties of cohabiting with a person with PUI may suffer from long-term stress. Also, the concern of the family member's health can generate different psychological problems. This constant exposure can lead to other health problems such as heart disease, gastrointestinal issues, high blood pressure, etc. Dysfunctional connections. The problematic use of the internet frequently causes pressure in family members, resulting in fights and communication failures. Also, it can generate distrust against the person with the behavior. Less resources. Having a member with one or more of behaviors of the PUI umbrella can make the family allocate resources in rehab centers, doctor visits, treatments, etc., which can all be quite expensive. On the other side, consumers can use family resources needed to continue with their behavior, for example, for online gambling or purchasing. Both scenarios make the family to have less money for other important things. Family isolation. PUI may cause family members to withdraw socially and become isolated from one another because they may feel too embarrassed to ask friends, neighbors, or other relatives for help. Neglect of other duties. Taking care of a family member with PUI frequently takes a lot of time and effort. Quitting from other duties, including parenting, housework, professional commitments, etc. Problems in further generations. Children learn some behaviors from their parents. If parents or caregivers tolerate and accept these behaviors, it is more likely that they are transferred from generation to generation. Side effects on the society. In our nowadays society, in many times, PUI often begin as part of social activities. They have been normalized within various contexts, such as recreational settings. Initially, they may be associated with fun, relaxation, inspiration, experimentation, etc., leading to their acceptance within social circles and broader communities. However, when an individual transitions from recreational or educational use to addiction, the societal acceptance rapidly transforms into stigma. Addiction turns the scenario that previously seemed harmless or even popular into a source of guilt and condemnation. This shift highlights the complex and often contradictory attitudes toward PUI in our contemporary society. Some people could think that stigma and isolation can help these persons in quitting their destructive behaviors. However, the reality is more complicated, becoming a central obstacle to effectively address the problem. For example, stigma creates barriers for individuals struggling with PUI to access support and resources. At its core, stigma can emerge from misconceptions and stereotypes about addiction, becoming a portrait of a moral failure or a choice, rather than a complex health issue. This misrepresentation leads to isolation against these individuals, exacerbating their challenges and hindering their ability to seek help. Stigma can go beyond interpersonal interactions to systemic inequalities. For example, reduced access to employment and other opportunities. This increases their marginalization, leading to a concerning cycle of disadvantage. Side effects on productivity. Online addictions can take up time and mental energy that could be used for work, study, or other activities, which can have a negative influence on productivity. Time displacement is one of the primary ways this happens. Hours that should be spent finishing work or participating in worthwhile activities are instead spent on compulsive online activities like social media, gaming, gambling, etc. This can lead to procrastination and missing deadlines. Addictions to the internet can also reduce focus. It also raises fragmented attention, which is when a person switches from one activity to another, consuming more energy. Frequent distractions might result from constant messages, the need to check social media, the need to keep playing games, etc. This makes a person harder to focus, which leads to poorer quality work and taking longer to finish tasks. Moreover, internet causes short bursts of stimulation, which makes more difficult to engage in deep, sustained work that requires focus and critical thinking. Furthermore, the prolonged internet use causes mental fatigue, lowering motivation and general energy levels. Addictive online habits can overstimulate people, draining their cognitive reserves and making them feel less eager to conduct other tasks or being involved in important responsibilities. Moreover, physical exhaustion brought on by this weariness might further hinder productivity. From the side of cyberbullying, the time and effort spent in these practices might hinder the individual's capacity to concentrate on work or other constructive pursuits. Side effects on work-life balance. The balance between work, school, and personal life can be disrupted by online addictions, which can result in a significant loss of control over one's time and priorities. When digital activities take precedence over responsibilities, people frequently find it difficult to manage their commitments effectively, which erodes their ability to maintain a consistent and focused approach to academic and professional obligations. When people let their addictions take over their lives, they frequently lose important possibilities for networking, professional promotion, and education. Students can notice a decline in their grades, which can lower their chances of receiving scholarships, getting into selective schools, or even finishing their degrees on schedule. Professionally, online addictions can lead to negative performance reviews and disciplinary measures that endanger probabilities for promotion and job stability. People who conduct these behaviors at work can even get fired. Furthermore, absenteeism may increase as people put their behaviors ahead of attending classes or jobs. Losing these chances might have long-lasting effects that make it challenging to bounce back, both professionally and academically. Side effects on mental health. Impaired emotional regulation. Online activities. Instant gratification might make more difficult for someone to control their emotions in real life. This can eventually make it harder to deal with stress, annoyance, or disappointment in a healthy way. Mood swings, impatience, and impulsive conduct can be brought on by this poor emotional regulation, which can strain relationships and have a detrimental impact on day-to-day functioning. Anxiety and stress. Spending too much time online, especially on social media, gaming, and gambling platforms, might make a person feel more anxious. Furthermore, persistent stress can be brought on by pressure to keep up with online contacts, fear of missing out, FOMO, etc. Also, a high level of anxiety can arise due to the improper self-diagnosis of people who suffer hypochondria. Victims of cyberbullying also experience these feelings when they are attacked. Symptoms such as headaches, restlessness, and problems concentrating might be a manifestation of this. Dysphoria and/or depression. Dysphoria is when a person reaches an emotional state characterized by dissatisfaction, discomfort, and unease. PUI, particularly related to social media, can generate dysphoria. When expectations are not fulfilled, the loop of getting validation via likes or comments can lead to dependence and depression. Furthermore, the constant comparison of oneself to others can make people feel not satisfied with their bodies, which can lead to a low sense of self-worth and unhappiness. Cyberbullying victims can become depressed when they are attacked. Depression can arise when persons with PUI isolate themselves from the society for a long period of time. Frustration. It can result from the problematic use of the internet, especially those involving gaming, gambling, shopping, etc. As people, they provide short-term pleasure but long-term unhappiness. As explained before, the hope of victory is one of the factors of the never-ending cycle, making people develop PUI. On the other hand, persistent defeats, failed attempts to reach new levels, or the loss of high financial amounts can cause frustration. This stems from the disparity between the effort invested and the lack of meaningful rewards, often leaving individuals feeling powerless and trapped. Also, the loss of academic and professional performance, for example, failing an exam due to the lack of time invested in studying, can lead to frustration, and therefore a higher dependency on their behaviors. Side effects on finances. The reduction of monetary resources is one important financial consequence of PUI. This can happen in many circumstances. For example, an online gaming addiction might cause serious financial difficulties for the user. Gamers can spend money in different ways, such as upgrades, exclusive products, in-game purchases, subscription fees, loot boxes, etc. These expenditures may mount up rapidly and empty bank accounts before the user realizes how much they have spent. It is important to remember that the goal of online casinos, online bets, and other sites is to keep customers engaged to spend their money. Due to its accessibility and anonymity, gambling in the digital world may be much riskier than in the real one. Individuals with the hope of becoming winners might result in significant financial losses. Even though it is frequently considered a social problem, cyberbullying can have a negative financial impact on the offender. This behavior can result in legal actions, fines, and lawsuits that need to be paid. On the other side, harming the victim's reputation may have long-term effects, making it more challenging to find work or maintain a stable financial situation. Compulsive purchasing disorder affects drastically people's finances. Online shopping is especially tricky because purchases can be made with only a few clicks. When some people buy something new, they feel good, but then this happiness disappears and they buy more things. Some other people also spend more money to deal with stress or bad feelings. This becomes an addiction that frequently results in overspending on unnecessary things. People who suffer with hypochondria spend money on pointless medical examinations, procedures, consultations, health devices, etc. Viewing pornography can also become a costly habit. Individuals spend their money in pay-per-view content, explicit material purchases, adult website subscriptions, etc. Moreover, the guilt and secrecy that are frequently connected to this addiction might cause people to conceal their expenses from family members, which can lead to dishonesty or poor money management. And last, when a person has an addiction to social networking, they might spend in subscriptions of private networks. The fundamental problem in each of these previous behaviors is the incapacity to resist internet temptations and maintain self-control. As the addiction worsens, the person may start prioritizing costs related to their behavior over basic necessities. This can result in serious financial repercussions, including debt, unpaid payments, bankruptcy, unstable finances, etc. At first, they can start borrowing money from others. However, when the situation becomes worse, they can start selling their assets, such as their house, having to deal with further obstacles in the future. Now that you have read some of the scenarios that cause financial problems, make a ranking list where the first position is the behavior that causes more potential risks of having economic issues. Quiz. 1. Which of the following statements is false? A. PUI can cause health problems within the family. B. PUI can cause dysfunctional connections in the family. C. PUI can cause family isolation. D. There is no relationship between persons with PUI and their families. Correct answer, D. 2. It can emerge from misconceptions and stereotypes about addiction, becoming a portrait of a moral failure or a choice, rather than a complex health issue. A. PIU. B. Stigma. C. Popularity. D. Racism. Correct answer, B. 3. Which of the following statement is false? A. Social networking does not generate financial problems. B. Viewing pornography can become a costly habit. C. Online shopping is especially tricky because purchases can be made with only a few clicks. D. The goal of online casinos, online bets, and other sites is to keep customers engaged to spend their money. Correct answer, A. 4. Why digital screens have a relationship with sleep patterns. A. The brain produces more melatonin with the constant use of screens. B. The brain produces more serotonin, which is the hormone that regulates our sleeping times. C. The red light affects sleep patterns. D. Blue light exposure disrupts the synthesis of melatonin. Correct answer, D. 5. Name one reason that a person with PIU can have a side effect on their sleeping pattern. A. Online addictions do not trigger insomnia. B. PUI can affect circadian rhythms. C. The pink light makes people to distress. D. Sleeping patterns are not affected by online addictions. Correct answer, B. 6. Which neurotransmitter contributes to the generation of addictions? A. Dopamine. B. Methadone. C. LBC. D. Oxys. Correct answer, A. 7. Is a side effect that can lead to procrastination. A. Dopamine. B. Methadone. C. Side effect on productivity. D. Oxys. Correct answer, C. 8. Which of the following statements is not considered a negative side effect on work, academic life balance? A. Students can notice a decline in their grades. B. Absenteeism may increase. C. Losing opportunities. D. Concentration increases. Correct answer, D. 9. It is the difficulty in controlling emotions. A. Uncontrol, EB, impaired emotional regulation. C. Less dopamine release. D. More dopamine release. Correct answer, B. 10. Symptoms such as headaches and restlessness are caused by A. Anxiety. B. Impaired emotional regulation. C. Less LBC release. D. More dopamine release. Correct answer, A.